I'll try to talk without a microphone. If it's too quiet, let me know. I'll take it then. Hello and good morning. My name is Lissi Muschol. Do you all have a hazelnut? If you don't, get one. You can pass it along too. So while everyone is getting a hazelnut, I tell you who I am. I'm a systemic coach and mediator, and in my former career I was a producer for international cinema productions. And eventually my focus shifted after many years of working in cinema production towards how do we work together. And it became more and more important to me to look at this topic because I felt like there's a lot to learn still when talking about how we work together. And I started to learn for myself and really dived into all the aspects of new work and agile leadership. And one of those aspects is conflict culture. How do we handle conflicts? And so basically, this is what I want to talk about today. I know it's a kind of uncomfortable topic, and we often prefer to ignore it or shut it out. So now to get into it, so everyone has a hazelnut, except me. Is there a hazelnut somewhere? Thank you. So I would like to invite you to look at this hazelnut as a conflict that you have experienced in your life or that you have right now in your life. Maybe it's not a conflict like a classical conflict, maybe it's a challenge that you have. And imagine it's really kind of burdening. So it's putting pressure on your system in a way. So please really hold on to it. Like feel how you're scared of letting it go. So you're holding on to it very, very tightly, and maybe you're afraid that it falls. Maybe you're afraid to lose somebody, or it just disappears from your life. And so that's why you really, really squeeze it. And now I want you to feel what is happening to your body. Is it tense? Is it really tight? Are you maybe even holding your breath? Do you feel pressure? I do. I mean, I'm tight here, but I'm also tight all the way down to my legs when I do this. So what I would like to ask you now is to turn your hand like this and just carefully open it. And now look at your conflict. Look at your challenge now. How does it look like? And how does your body feel when you look at it like this? You can also move it in your hand. It's still here, but your reaction to it maybe is now very different, is it? Like more relaxed. And you can look at it from different angles, and you kind of can accept that it's there, but it's not dominating your whole system and body. So yeah, thanks for trying this with me. Basically, to understand what happens with us when we are in conflict, I would like to show you a little flip chart. I know it's really old-fashioned, but I still love it. So what happens to us when we are in conflict? Usually, when we feel relaxed and cool, we are in our comfort zone. So what's going on there? Let's say nothing much. There is not a lot of movement. I can just be chilled and relaxed and easygoing. That's the moment where I sit on my couch and just do nothing. And then when we go into a conflict, and I just want to be clear, I'm not talking about a conflict like the war we have in Ukraine. I'm talking about a social conflict, about a conflict in between in relationships that we have. So when we go into conflict, we move from the comfort zone pretty much directly into the panic zone. And in the panic zone, our movement is basically uncontrolled. So what is going on in our panic zone? Basically, what happens to our system, there is a lot of changes. So we have a change. I'm going down now. Can you still see me or hear me at least? We have changes in our feelings. We have changes in our thinking. And this leads to massive changes in our behavior. So what's going on? I become oversensitive. I become insecure and suspicious. I can have emotional outbursts. I can have them very good, actually. And other people, not me, but other people, really desensibilize. So they are not connected to their feelings anymore. They just shut them out of their system. That's the feelings. What about the thinking? Well, first of all, it becomes pretty foggy. There's a lot going on at the same time. And then our survival instincts kick in. And this I know also very well. I become really stubborn. Like, I want this. Like, that's it. There's no other way. It's what I want. Oh, yeah. And some people even get pretty obsessive. So there's not a lot of controlled movement, or maybe no movement at all. It's like either it's out of control or it's not happening. So what does that do to my behavior? I attack, I accuse, I demand. Do you find yourself in there? I do. And this one is actually really important. There is no breaks in between action and reaction. It's just bam, 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 bam. So why is that? Because we rely on stereotypes and patterns. Most of the times, it's things that we learned when we were very, very little. So it's infantile coping strategies. What are those? So that could be screaming. That could be becoming sick, actually. It could be like tense effort to please. Or it could just be, I stop communicating. I punish you by not talking to you anymore. So, and talking about survival instinct, it's fight, flee, or freeze. You probably all know those mechanisms. So, yeah, a lot going on. Let's say maybe a little too much. So what options do we have? I know it's not so easy to try, but we could possibly, theoretically, try to see conflict as something that can happen in our learning zone. So, and I'm convinced that in our learning zone, this is where we can move. It's not the most comfortable place to be, but we are still able to move and to learn and to change and to develop. So how does this learning zone look like? So if we decide that let's go through this conflict as a field where I can learn, we can maybe have a change of perspective. I can imagine that it's super stressful for you, and that's why you maybe yelled at me. I can have understanding for your situation, or for my team's situation, or whoever I'm in conflict with. I can even look at myself, like, okay, what happened to me right there? Why did it make me so angry? And this can lead to personal development. And I think that's one of the most important ones, it can lead to development in my relationships. If I really decide to go through this conflict that I'm having, and if I'm brave enough to tell you why I was angry or sad or disappointed, and you dare to tell me what happened to you, this can make us closer. And yeah, definitely, if we decide to go through conflict like this, from personally, I can say I'm more soft and more vulnerable than when I'm down there. And even though maybe it's a bit scary to feel soft and vulnerable, I think that it actually leads to courage. So let's be courageous with this vulnerability that we have. So, yeah, in general, what options of movements do I have when I am in a conflict? Isn't it crazy? I mean, look at how much is going on on this flip chart and in conflict. So, yeah, that's okay. So what can I do when I have a conflict? Because, I mean, it's easy to say, just see it as a learning zone. Well, there's a lot of things you can do. You can play along. That can be fun, like really go into it. Be mean back. You can leave. So if my boyfriend is a person that I'm done fighting with and I don't want to see him ever again in my life, it's okay. I can leave, you know. It's legit. Doesn't work so well if you have kids together, for example. I can try to win and defeat. So, and one very good way to do that is find allies and team up, like getting all my colleagues together and be really mean to you because you said one bad thing. And then also, I can go to court and fight. No, and actually, I would really do that. If my landlord is trying to kick me out of my apartment, I'm not going to be like, oh, come on, that's learning zone. No, I'm going to court. There's a lot more, definitely. And then there's the one that I would like to focus on. Let's find solutions that work for all. So they work for me, they work for you, they work for our team. So how can I do that? How can I find solutions when I'm stuck in a panic zone? What could you do? I mean, seriously, what would you do when you're, let's say, literally stuck? I mean, I don't know, you're stuck on a 3-meter high tree. you can't get down, what do? You ask for help.
On the tree,
Yeah. So what do you do when you're stuck with your car in a puddle of mud? You ask for help. You call the farmer who lives next door and ask him to get you out of there. You call the fire brigade to get you from the tree, or you call your neighbor who has the spare key when you locked yourself out. So, when you're stuck in a conflict, you can call a mediator. And a mediator can help you in your conflict. So, and maybe, yeah, I want to tell you about what is mediation just briefly, because a lot of people think that it's meditation, which is also really important. How do you say? A spiritual practice to have more focus in your life and to feel happier and more with yourself. I love it. But mediation is really good when you're in conflict. So what happens in mediation? Let's see, I can open this for you. And whoever's in the back row, feel free to come up front here later and look at all the stuff. So mediation is kind of like, first of all, analyzing what the hell is going on. Because most of the times in conflicts, people just start to talk about what all is, and he did, and she did, and and then you're like, what is the problem? I mean, you're not seriously talking or discussing if Donald Trump is stupid or not. This can't really be your conflict. So our job is to really analyze and find out what is beneath this thing that you're talking about. And then also what we do, mediation is a structured process. So we kind of have a structure helping you to go through all this chaos you have in your panic zone and with your other person or with your team that you're fighting with. We have a bunch of techniques that we use for that, like how we talk to you, how we try to get you back to talking to each other. And I think that's one of the most important ones. As mediators, we set a frame with a certain attitude. We believe in there is a solution. It's maybe not there yet now and today, but there is the potential in all of you to find the solution. So this house is kind of there to release the pressure that you feel when you're in a conflict. And in a way, it's kind of like a safety net under your movements. And yeah, here we are again, back to movement. So we carefully try to find sustainable solutions by really consciously taking space and time to move things within ourselves and also with the people that we have relationships with. And yeah, personally, I'm convinced that facing these conflicts in our life like this, most of the time, like constructively and with the will to find win-win solutions, it will make us more courageous, and we need this courage if we want to really face the other challenges that we have in this world and that will come in this world. So, I don't know, next time that you find yourself in an uncomfortable conflict situation, be invited to remember today and think of your hazelnut and ask yourself which moves you are making and which moves are the ones that you want to make. That's it. Thank you.